This is a start. The African National Congress apologizing. I mean, on the scale of 10, I'll give it 7 out of 10. They're saying, we're sorry. We hopped on SA military private jet and flown to Zimbabwe to deal with the situation. I know. It's not your Boys to Men song, bending knees. I'm down on bending knees, begging, saying, we're sorry. I think that might happen in 2023 if they put together all their poll stars and start doing the polling and say, whoa, looks like we're not going to hit 50% here. So we must go on a nice apology tour. Remember when President Cyril Ramaphosa was given the reign of being an ANC president? He was doing province after province, seeing the kings. I remember he went to KZN to see the Zulu king, went to Limpopo and go with the ANC delegates, of course, to see Queen Mujaji, the Rain Queen, and all the way down to the Sikukune land and go see the Bapedi King and Eastern Cape and so forth, and saying, hey, we are the party of the people. We are with you here. We want to hear what you really need in terms of the traditional leaders' powers. There's a legislation there. We want to hear your inputs. And then started meeting business folks and so forth. So I think an apology tour would be in that manner. That's only when the polls would be low and the ANC can see that they're going to have difficulty in winning the election in 2024. So you had Ace Makashule. He said, we're sorry because the journey that we took was unusual. We took an unusual flight, an unusual path to Zim. If that's an apology. Well, granted. And I remember a week prior to that, one of the folks who were in the delegation that was to go to Zim was having none of it. Remember, folks, he was having none of it when they asked him about it. Dakota Lokwete. This is News 24 article here. In an interview with News 24 last week, National Executive Committee member Dakota Lokwete, who was part of the delegation, said the use of an Air Force jet was not a mistake. How can it be a mistake when between 5 to 7 million people are about to face starvation? How can it be a mistake when about over 4 million people have crossed the border? They are in our shores. How can it be a mistake when we are likely to face an outrage of xenophobic attacks on Zimbabweans because they are tussling for manual labor with South Africans? Lekwete asked. He added that the ANC delegation took a lift on a plane because we had a burden of responsibility as South Africa because there is COVID-19 and no commercial or international flights are available. Lekwete said Minister of Social Development Lindiwe Zulu and Mapisa Ngakula were meeting with their counterparts in Zimbabwe. Lekwete said Minister of Social Development Lindiwe Zulu and Mapisa Ngakula were meeting with their counterparts in Zimbabwe about challenges the two countries faced. For inaction, the ANC is going to be blamed. For action, the ANC will be equally blamed. People forget we are African, with African value systems, he said. I was almost tempted to do I'm an African, poem by former President Thabo Mbeki. So there you have it. It was just a week ago when there were no apologies. Now we're having 7 out of 10 apologies from the African National Congress for taking on a flight to Zim. And they went with the Minister of Defense, Mapisa Ngakula, remember her stories about SA defense flight a few years ago, 2014, 2015. She smuggled her late son's girlfriend into a plane, an army plane, okay, into South Africa, and the girlfriend from Burundi went to DRC with an illegal passport, which was organized by the younger sister of our Minister of Defense. And she said that this is the Minister of Defense, she said that the young lady was being abused by her father, so she was rescuing her over. And she did the same thing. Took her into the military private jet, flown her here in South Africa. The very same thing that she did by giving a lift to the ANC delegates to Zim. And I remember the president said that he wanted an answer within 48 hours. It's sort of like me and my Mrs. Me, right? Mrs. Me gets 1 million maybe from a friend, and that we say, hey, we're going to start a business, please hook us up with 1 million rand. And then my government, okay, takes that 1 million and go buy a new car, and then tell me that we're going to renovate our house. We renovate our house and maybe go on a holiday, in KZN, Durban, or who knows, Western Cape. We go on a holiday. Next thing, a friend of ours who had borrowed us that money, 1 million, it's furious, said, I borrowed your wife 1 million rands, and now all of a sudden she's not paying me back, and I can see that you've been splashing. You've been going on holidays, you renovated your house, you did all those things. What's going on? And I, as the husband, starts saying, I'm giving my wife 48 hours to respond to me as to why the money that you've given to her, that 1 million, had disappeared. Meanwhile, I've been with my wife on holiday vacations and coming up with nice suggestions of how we're supposed to renovate our house. So it's the same thing here with the ANC President Ramaphosa saying that he had given his cabinet member, Minister Noziviwe Mapisa Ngagula, 48 hours to explain as to how the military jet plane was then let the ANC delegates to hop on it and fly to Zim, whereas the Minister Mapisa Ngakula, is a member of cabinet. And few years ago, she done the same thing, flown her late son's girlfriend from Burundi all the way to South Africa in the very same kind of a private jet here, and nothing happened. They said there was going to be an investigation, I remember, and then boom, nothing had happened. And I believe her younger sister was reinstated as an ambassador again to DRC. And the person who wrote the letter from Burundi, I think, was it Burundi or DRC, complaining about that the procedures were not followed, was booted out of their work, and nothing actually changed. But now the ANC delegates are saying, we are going to pay back for the travel. We're going to pay the ANC delegates, which was sent by the ANC government of the Republic of South Africa, says that they're going to pay the ANC government as the ANC for the ANC giving them a flight, government flight into Zimbabwe, right? So a quick search as to how much does the fuel cost of these jets, they range from about $11,600. Let's just say $10,000 to fill up a tank of such a plane. All right, 10,000 to be conservative, because of our currencies just fluctuate from 17 rands to 18 rands per dollar. We can even take it to 15. So this is just the fuel of about 1.5 million rands, excluding maintenance. Maybe someone will check with the aviation magazines and folks who are glued to aviation pricing and so forth as to how much is the maintenance of a plane. Who knows? Conservatively, maybe they would need to pay 3 million rands as the ANC. And guys, we know that the ANC is broke, okay? The organization that their folks are running this South African government is broke, okay? It's a private organization. Last December, they were hurrying up. They were in fast speed trying to get some money to pay the employees of the ANC for December holidays. They were not able to get the money in time to pay the employee as the ANC. Remember that? And I remember this year as well, in June, they were struggling to pay their employees, and they were sending them email that we will pay you, we're having challenges with COVID. And it was around the time where the Treasurer General of the ANC, obviously, who is responsible in order to do fundraising for the ANC, to get the money in order to keep the organization going, was going through tough times. His spouse passed on, unfortunately, and I also think that the mom also passed on, back to back. So it was going through tough times. I know that as an organization, one cannot say that someone is going through tough times in their families. Obviously, there are mechanisms which the organization will have to put in place in order to keep it running. But the ANC doesn't have money. So it's going to be interesting as to how the ANC is going to pay that money, and how they're going to tally the expenses and so forth, and the proof of payment, and where this proof of payment is going to go to. And so this is strike number 2 for the Minister of Defense, using a private military army plane, flying folks that she's not supposed to fly. So it has happened twice. There are calls from the DA and all other political parties requesting for the Minister of Defense to step down. And folks, it's not gonna happen. As they like to say, it ain't gonna happen. So that's just what's been happening now. Week after week, the ANC just takes the oxygen out of the house. They are constantly in the news. In fact, they were helped by the economic freedom fighters last week and a couple of days prior to that, when they opportunistically got a chance to be in the media, because it's always the ANC cabinet members each and every single day addressing us about the communist virus, the 350 rands that they're giving it to everyone like Santa Claus, and telling them that, hey, this 150 rand, you can use it the way that you want. As Panyaza Lusufi was telling homeless people. And it's sort of like a campaign. It's September now. It's like a campaign for the local elections that are coming through. The EFF is not in parliament, so there are no point of orders that are going to be racing. Maybe trying to accost other members of parliament from the ANC and to sustain them to be in the news. So it's not happening. So as much as the ANC on the other side is taking all the oxygen in the house, and are constantly in all different media platforms to be seen doing well in terms of COVID, like Minister Mkhize, the Minister of Health, getting likes on social platforms, and initially the minister were talking about people not sharing Zol. Minister Dlamini Zuma also were like the people's favorites when she started. And then there was Cele with the non-alcoholic drinking communities. So they were constantly in the news. Whereas on the other side, then the PPE news came through about all these protective gears, the gloves, the sanitizers, tenders in all provinces, billions of rands, being guzzled down by this network of ants, just biting away. So the ANC was in trouble, and more people were now coming back and giving negative feedback on social platform, the hashtag, everybody must step down from the ANC, and the hashtag, shoo the dog away. You know what that is. It's now a swear word. I'm trying to keep it clean. So as a result, the ANC were like, what are we going to do? Oh yes, then the president wrote a letter and said, we are all accused number one, in order to win favor with the society. And then all of a sudden, people were like, wow, the president is acknowledging that the ANC government now, they've seen the wrong ways that they are doing to the people of South Africa. And this was coincided with the NEC meeting, where then Jacob Zuma dropped a letter criticizing the president for saying, hey, how could you criticize the whole movement? And then the Zuma faction started to be in action in that meeting, and then it was a mess again. And then who came to the rescue? The economic freedom fighters came into the rescue to rescue the African National Congress, thanks to clicks. So they had a bit of an oxygen up, and then the ANC had a bit of a sigh of relief. And the ANC should just, I beg your pardon, send some money to the EFF headquarters there, one of these PPE monies that they are guzzling down. They say, hey, this publicity, it's pure gold. We're sending the EFF 50 million rands because the EFF had helped us. We were just in the public view, at each other's throats, messing up from left to right. Even the people who've been protecting us throughout the years were like, whoa, you know what? We got nothing to do with this political party when the elections come through. At least those are the sentiments, because things normally changes when they're in the booth. You see, the bad public sentiments, the bad optics of the ANC. On top of that, the recession, the GDP contracted by 51%. Talk about balancing the need for a livelihood as well as a life. I mean, it looks like in South Africa, the cure had been worse than the virus. Basically, if the economy had contracted by 5%, 5% out of maybe the 10%, but it just contracted by 51%. So there's going to be more and more, a couple of millions of people being unemployed. That's contributing to lack of revenues collected by SARS in the next coming year. You've seen that the beverage industry was hit a lot. So we'll see. because normally the target was to have 1 trillion rands of collection by SARS. So now it's going to be a mad deficit when it comes to collecting tax. So yeah, that's my take. My name is Mamuji, and thanks for watching the Mamuji show, and I'm out.